At Midwest Whitetail, we take great pride in getting the next generation of hunters out in the field and cultivating the sport's future. Many team members were able to take advantage of the Iowa youth season to make memories that will last a lifetime.
Bill and I are all tucked in for our first hunt of the year. Between work and school, this is our first chance to get out. We're on our new farm.
Pretty awesome. She did a great job.
Right, it's the evening of September 26th. This is our second outing for the youth season here in Iowa. Hopefully we'll bring in some action here in an hour or so and try to get this done. Pretty pumped. I've had a lot of fun hunts in my life, and this might top them all. So good job, buddy. Pretty sweet, huh?
The long-awaited Iowa bow season is finally here. October 2nd brings the first cold front of the season, and with it, sporadic rain showers. To stay dry, Jared Mills heads to a soft-sided redneck blind. His quarry this rainy day is a surprise giant, a basic 8-pointer with sticker points that only recently began showing up on Jared's trail cameras.
Alright, it's October 2nd, and the first cold front of the hunting season is rolling through as we speak. It's been raining off and on all day, and we actually had no intentions of hunting today. Tomorrow, from a weather forecast and pressure and temperature, all that actually looks the best. The primary target tonight, first of all, it's probably the biggest deer I've ever hunted, or biggest deer I've ever targeted. I have a little bit of history with him over the past couple of years. I believe this is a 5.5-year-old deer. It's going to be a challenge, no doubt, primarily because he seems to be moving around, multiple people hunting him, and my personal situation is I'm in a spot where he has been showing up on camera. In fact, we pulled Carson Day and he was here at 2 a.m., not this spot, but about 100 yards from here, maybe a little bit more. But it's just a hard property to hunt, so it's not very big, so I think I'm in the game if he spends any amount of time here. It's just that I have to figure out how to actually set up on him, and that's going to be a hard part. So hopefully this cold front snaps, he gets him up on his feet early. We got some beans that are still really green out in front of us. So we'll see what happens. I can't wait for this journey, and I'm excited for it to get started. They're running. Alright, we're just at the end of camera light right now, so we're going to try to pack up as quickly and quietly as possible and get out of here before any deer actually make it to this field. And I love the fact that it's about to rain too, and the next 20 to 30 minutes to really erase anything we've done and get rid of our scent. My goal is just to eliminate any mistakes on my end and control what I can on this small property. So let the chess match begin. Tomorrow's conditions look good. I'm going to be right back out here in a different spot with a different wind. So we'll check back in tomorrow. It's October 3rd, and basically we have the best conditions you could possibly ask for an early October hunt. Cold front rolled through yesterday, and now we got the high pressure system behind it. I expect a lot of big mature deer to be on their feet tonight. We're going after the big deer tonight, and I finished basically talking about how I was going to play it smart and try to eliminate any mistakes, and here I am getting as aggressive as you possibly can on this farm. Grant and I are going to head in, try to find a spot to sit on the ground where we've been getting pictures of this buck. We don't know exactly where he's bedded, but we have a general idea of where he spends most of his time. It's crazy aggressive, but a lot of people hunting this deer, and I'd rather hunt him on a halfway reasonable pattern now as opposed to waiting a few weeks where he could go anywhere depending on where the hot doe is. So it's crazy. This is the most aggressive I've ever been on a deer for sure, but who knows, it might just work.
Jared anxiously waits a few feet off the ground in the small tree, hoping to see the big deer. That same evening, 115 miles to the west, Josh Sparks is hunting a large tract of public land, also hoping to benefit from the early October cold front.
Well, it's a pretty good start to the evening. It's 5:30 now, and we saw 4 does in the corner back here in the timber, and they were walking down the edge. And where they came out is the greenest beans, and there's a ton of acorns right on the edge. There's a bunch of oak trees right there, so you can see them picking around. And with any luck, that early deer movement will maybe get one of these mature bucks up on his feet a little earlier to come check things out. And I know Max is pretty excited. You guys can't see him, but he goes. He goes, that's more deer than I see in the entire season in Georgia. Is that true? Let's ask him.
Pretty close. That's a lot better than a good sit at home, that's for sure. It's pretty awesome out here.
But, so we've got these deer out there. Obviously way too far out of bow range, and we won't shoot a doe because we're not dragging one from here, but hopefully the parade continues.
I'll shoot that deer. You see him? See him. That's a shooter. No way. Oh my goodness. It's really hard to get. Big one.
Y'all want to talk about an insane way to kick off the year. That was everything we were hoping for. That buck just stepped out and was coming down that field edge. He was eating some of the beans, and then he went and worked those scrapes like we were hoping they would. And a darn doe just got downwind of us. Our wind's pretty marginal. I mean, she was in that back corner, which our wind could be getting to, and she kind of spooked off, and then everything else ran. So that buck didn't. He's right on that acorn flat right over here somewhere. So there's a chance he could cut back out. I doubt he does, but what an incredible way to start off the year. That was a stud. That was a shooter all day. Oh my gosh, I'm shaking like I just shot him.
The great buck steps back out in the beans, along with a parade of other smaller bucks. Eventually the deer work past Josh, but the beautiful 10-pointer never gets closer than 70 yards. Darkness ends Josh and Max's exciting hunt. Though disappointed, the hunters are filled with anticipation, knowing now where they will be when the wind is again right. Rejoining Jared Mills, the action is getting very intense.
TNT's in the beans.
Man, what a night. That's if every hunt for this deer is going to be that intense. When you're hunting like that, and you think you're close, but at any time a deer like that could step out. You're listening for every little thing. You're just constantly scanning. I don't know how much we captured on camera, but I was up in the tree, Grant was on the ground, and I looked out and saw him walking away from us, and I told Grant we gotta go. Grant was on the ground obviously, so we didn't get footage, but we ran probably 200 yards to try to get in front of him on the downwind side of where we thought he was going. Normally I wouldn't even think about doing that, but on this farm I think our best chance is killing from the ground, and I thought we had a good advantage of doing that if we made the right moves. Part of me feels like we spooked him just because that's the worst case scenario, but we actually climbed up an elevated blind to be able to get a good vantage of the whole area and couldn't see him anywhere. So I really hope that he just happened to work past the openings and before we could get down there. I don't know. Hindsight's 20/20. Just in that tree, it was just a no-brainer. Gut reaction, jumped out of the tree. Let's go, Grant. If every hunt, like I said, if every hunt for this deer is this wild, it's gonna be a fun ride. So it was cool to lay eyes on him, at least. I can tell you he looks really big walking away.
October 3rd brings great buck encounters for Jared and Josh. It has been a great start to the season. I am also out on my farm that afternoon, playing it safe and hunting a stand that I believe is on the fringe of the Big 8's fall range. The buck never appears, and I take advantage of the opportunity to harvest my first doe of the season.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can see some more deer before this is over with, but it's exciting. I know people think that we only hunt bucks, but we don't. I shoot way more does than I shoot bucks, and I have a lot of fun doing it.
65 miles to the west, Owen Reigler decides between two bucks. Will it be picket fence or Wolverine? Eventually he decides on a stand in Wolverine's core area and briefly encounters the buck inside the timber feeding on acorns.
Some anxious moments right here. We got that Wolverine buck right here and behind us. It looked like he was kind of angling off to the east, but we'll see.
The buck never gets close enough for a shot before eventually working off, ending Owen's hunt. While it is a cold front that brings great action in Iowa, 670 miles to the southeast, team member Jeremiah Roberson is facing a different set of conditions. With the mercury pushing way up in the thermometer, the afternoon finds Jeremiah walking to his blind with a large bag of ice. Not your traditional gear for an October bow hunt, Jeremiah hopes the ice will help him stay in the hot blind. Bucks have been hitting a nearby grove of sawtooth oaks, mopping up the dropping acorns.
Well, here we go again. It's the evening of October the 3rd, and I'm back in the hot box. More of the same. We got record-setting temperature. We've probably lost maybe 3 or 4 degrees since yesterday, so still in the mid-90s. And I'm just playing on the law of averages. The temperature has not stopped the bucks from coming to this field. They've been here several days in daylight. And just to recap, there are at least 5 that I would shoot on this farm. We've got a whole line of sawtooth oaks that are about 20 years old. They're raining acorns. And all the bucks in the area are attracted to this. In front of me, I've got the poorest excuse for an alfalfa field I've ever seen. It has been a mean summer. It's been hot, it's been dry. I know that we're going on 5 weeks with no rain. So everything is crunchy and struggling. But hopefully that's going to change real soon. There is some rain in the forecast. Hopefully tonight the boys show up and one of them will stand out here and pose just like you always hope for. Guess we'll see. There's the shooter right there. Yeah, there's the eagle. That's him. He's well turned. Pretty sure that's him. It's a big body. Got him. I don't care how many times you do that. I've been hunting for a long time, and once I make my mind up that I'm going to shoot, and that buck or doe or whatever closes the distance, I still get rattled. I guess that's what keeps you coming back. But that's a cool deer, and I don't really have any history that I'm aware of with that buck. He just started showing up when all these sawtooths started dropping. The landowner, Dwayne, is just down the ridge from me, where that other 8-point was bedded yesterday. I got some pretty cool pictures of him in his bed, so that feels great. Buck number 1, Tennessee, 2019. I'm excited to go get him.
Well, me and Dwayne just, he finished his hunt, saw a bunch of deer, and we just picked up my arrow, and I just was lucky enough to be able to drive the truck right here and pick up blood. Right there, and go ahead. Be good enough. All over that tree. I see something shining right up there, though. Looks an awful lot like an eyeball, don't it? I believe that's how far he went. Might be the only time you film a recovery in shorts and Crocs. Yeah, that's true. Well, it could have been worse. He could have went a lot. That'll do it. Well, that's going to do it for the lopsided 8-point. For lack of a better name, we had 5 different bucks back here this year. I know what pulled all of these deer in was all of those sawtooth acorns. Every year during the early season, we pull bucks from adjoining farms, but I'm real proud to have him. My first buck for Tennessee 2019, and fortunately, it's going to take more than 100-degree heat to kill our desire. Well, that'll do it. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank y'all for watching Midwest Whitetail.
Rarely does the start of the season produce so much action. The excitement is high, and we plan for the coming days with the greatest anticipation. Jared Mills knows he should be cautious hunting the big deer, but now the cooler weather and the knowledge that the buck is on the property have Jared thinking more aggressively. While it is not time to push in all of his chips, it is time to raise the ante. Josh Sparks picked up right where he left off, encountering another great buck on the public land bean field. When the wind is right, he plans to go back, hoping to take advantage of the early season pattern before it disappears, where another hunter finds the buck. Owen Reigler saw Wolverine for the first time, but he still plans to focus as much effort as possible on the buck he calls Picket Fence. For my part, I plan to stay back on the fringes of the Big 8's core area, keeping my eye on my trail cameras. When the buck shows daylight activity, I will make a more decisive move. Though the cooler temperatures have given us the feeling of rut in the hardwoods, experience has taught us to guard our enthusiasm. These early acts are just a tease for the main event. This is still October, early October, a month away from prime time. No matter how much we and the bucks we hunt wish it were so, this is not the rut. The action is fast for October, but it is a false hope, a glimpse only of the real game that is still to come. We are feeling our oats, but like the bucks we hunt, we are not yet chasing November.